dad bashing fucking class, you know? That would be dumb of me on my part, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. She's just nuts, man.
Crazier than fucking shithouse rat, dude. Never.
Well, guess that's how we start the stream.
Stupid ass mistakes cause you a whole fucking life.
It'd be cool if you can reverse that and just take her out of your life and then, but still have the kids.
Sometimes I feel sorry for kids. It's probably gonna be miserable.
Nah, you never know. It's just human's life.
Things are getting more and more lame, dude, and fucked up. Ain't like when we were kids.
Yeah, the world's getting way more populated.
Yeah, well, and it's just things more stuck up, you know, limited, restricting everything.
Yeah, we do it to ourselves through all these crazy fucking laws. It's all manipulative and they're not even made in a justful manner.
I know.
All Dan's got to do is move and take the kids with him. Let's all move. Let's go. There's a cool split place in Montana called Kalispell that looks dope. I lived there for a little
Yeah,
bit.
if all three of us could live together.
Dude, real estate is so cheap out there. There's a huge fucking house me and Tip were looking at. It's got a garage, it's got a guest house over the garage. It's got 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a basement, and it's right in the woods, close to the lake.
Montana, it gets a lot of snow up in Montana, dude.
Hell yeah.
What the hell?
But you only gotta deal with that for a little bit. Otherwise, you're chilling in the house, doing whatever it is you do in Montana.
Montana.
Dude, it's so awesome. Pick your load out yet?
Mm-hmm.
No one grows old. Age you choose.
No problem. I'll handle this.
3, 2, 1, fight.
They're coming for you. What?
Oh shit, I forgot to change my profile.
Enemy team claimed the orb.
Coming for you.
Enemy team claimed the orb.
Ultimate ready. Let's go for a spin.
You could get her for a sec. Tell me if you're in
The
trouble.
death vortex is incoming.
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
Alright, here I come. I had to turn my Razor software off. I'm getting down.
Your team won the orb. Still effective. Round 1.
Well done, everyone.
Yeah,
Me
with health,
included.
if you're at a quarter health, you can always consider yourself in trouble. Because most people can take that health down in a snap if they get you.
3, 2,
I don't see how we're strict matchmaking against bronze leagues.
Fuck.
Ultimate ready. Death Vortex's enemy team won the orb.
No.
Your team won the orb.
Motherfuck. Fucking cocksucker.
Round lost.
Starting to sound like mom.
Damn. Cocksucker!
Three, two, one.
I get tops this time. I get tops.
How the fuck does he hit me? Where the fuck over there?
Enemy team claimed the orb. Challenge. Dang it! The Death Vortex is incoming. Ow! Your team won the orb.
Fuck.
Got health right behind you.
Fuck.
dog.
Oh my god. Not worried about that fucking health. That shit ain't gonna help
Round
me, man.
lost.
Would've saved you.
No. Nothing would have saved me. Even if I picked those up, that one little thing you fucking threw would have still killed me.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have hit you. You'd have been out of there.
Three, two, one, fight! Your team won the orb. The Death Vortex is incoming. It works! Watch this! Your team claimed the orb. Round one.
Oh, I'm late for the theater.
Oh, I didn't realize I was still logged into my old account. I mean my new account. My newest account.
Three, two,
I've
one.
had this Steam account as long as I've worked it. Oh my god! Oh, she must have seen me coming, man.
Your team claimed the orb.
Ultimate blast off!
That bitch was ready for me. Oh, you didn't get her twice? That should have been
Death
twice,
vortex
man.
is incoming.
The Ice Age is here.
That's a
Your
fairly
team
good
claimed the orb.
fucking...
The Blaster Master strikes
Yeah!
again.
Dang, man.
Match victory.
She, fucking-
I had a good run, and I'm
she
sad
thought
to
she
say
had
it's
that at
over.
first. I knew
I
she
know.
did.
Yeah, so old school cribs came with bite guards on the fucking railings, so the kids don't beaver the railings all the way down. And you can't find a new crib with bite guards anywhere.
A new crib?
Yeah, with bite guards on the railings. That should be like a health hazard, not to have that.
So that skateboarders can't rail down the railings?
So that kids cannot eat the wooden railings like they do. When they're teething, they bite the shit off of them. They shave them all the way down. It looks like a beaver ate
yeah.
the side of the crib and shit.
Oh, I was wondering what the fuck you're talking about, man. I thought you said something about keeping people from sliding down the railings or something. Alright, so you're talking about baby cribs.
You're good looking.
So what, does yours, it doesn't have a bite guard?
No new cribs do. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that don't make sense.
I remember when I was growing up and we had babies around the house, the cribs had bite guard.
Yeah, so do I.
Little plastic guard. You know, they can't find it nowhere. I'll tell you what's funny is watching how they figure out how to escape. Like Josiah, he would take it slow, and most of the time he'd get out of there real slow, and you'd find him on the ground. Half the time he'd fall, but Charlie, when she decided to climb out the crib, the minute you put her in her crib and shut the door, she was out like 2 seconds later on the
Wonderful
floor.
time to be young.
Combat
So
mode.
she was a
Ready to
scurrier.
go.
2, 1, fight.
Some kids are just dumb, they just flop over the top and hit the floor and they're good. See how I got that?
Enemy team won the orb. The death vortex is incoming.
Motherfuck.
Round lost.
Freya's doing way too good.
Can't wait for more.
Pestilence is just,
And he talked about this very bizarre story of how he flew this dead giant out to some base in Ohio.
Describe.
3, 2, 1, fight! Enemy team claimed the orb.
Here I come, dog. Yeah, she's right.
Your team won the orb. Your team won the orb.
She got
Ultimate ready. Welcome to the show.
Your team claimed the orb. Death vortex approaching.
Ultimate ready. This costs so much.
fuck, dude, I can't do nothing. What? How the fuck did he do that when I had my shield up? Oh, that was his fucking, that was fucking Pestilence.
Time to celebrate.
Shit.
Alright, Ron. She's got one of the movement speed perks that I use, so when she lands hammer, she will catch you. She gets like a 30% boost, so try not to let her land that hammer.
I think you need to ignore her and focus on like catching that fucking Pestilence off guard. We need to kill that Pestilence. That Pestilence is keeping him alive, dude. I had that Pestilence almost dead. Like, ignore her. Let her hit you. Just kill the Pestilence.
Enemy team won the orb. Enemy team won the orb. Your team claimed the orb. Death vortex approaching.
He's running like a bitch. I want to get this orb.
claimed the orb.
Game over.
Round 1.
I was great back there.
Exactly what
You gotta remember to kill those fucking
basically came outside. We had a normal 463L pilot loaded down with what they told us was a giant.
Keep talking about
the
3, 2, 1, fight. Enemy team claimed the orb. Enemy team claimed the orb.
no fucking way.
Your team won the orb.
Not this time.
Round 1.
I had a good run, and I'm
getting
sad
raw
to say
now.
it's over.
Three, two, one, fight!
Hyper time. Just a minute. Just playing with everything here.
Get out of there.
Your team claimed the orb.
Game over.
Your team won the orb.
Pull out.
Death vortex incoming.
Didn't see that one coming, did ya?
Well, they fought hard and they lost.
Victory.
I had a good run, and I'm sad to say it's
giant being
over.
1,100 pounds, anywhere from 10 to 15 feet long, and it was killed. It was apparently shot somewhere in a cave in Afghanistan, but before it was shot, it lunged at several of our troops, our soldiers, and may have even gorged somebody. It was just a bizarre story.
Well, I'll get to that. The bottom line was there was a patrol that was dispatched in a very rugged, remote area in
gain no
Afghanistan.
XP.
2002, looking for high-value targets. So the patrol is dropped off by helicopter. They do their thing. They're supposed to check in. They don't check in. Second check-in time comes in. It doesn't happen. Third one.
They call them rally points.
Rally points, and they never met any of the rally points. So everybody's going, were they all killed? Was it an ambush, a firefight? What's going on? A second patrol is dispatched, dropped off in exactly the same.
That's where our guy ended up.
Yeah, we'll call him a shooter. He's in the second patrol. The shooter's now in the second patrol, embedded with these guys. And they're following this goat trail. They're coming down in this very rugged area, looking for the lost patrol. And as they're coming down this goat trail, the shooter in front of him, he sees these like white fragment things on the ground, and he realizes it's bone, and also there's like meat attached to the bone.
There were bloody bones on the ground and torn up military equipment,
like the radio
here that he recognized, but it was in pieces. He's like, what's happening?
So they're going wild animal, you know, were they butchered or something by Taliban? I mean, no one knows. So they come down the goat trail, and it ends in like a little plateau, like a ledge. And on the edge of the ledge, it goes down to precipice, like 500, 600, 1,000 feet to the valley below. And they're sort of dispersed. Nothing's happening at this point. All of a sudden, out of the cave comes the thing of someone's nightmare. It's 12 feet. It's got a large spear, at least 10 feet tall, in its hand, a shield in the other hand. It's got flaming red hair. Later on, they counted 6 fingers. So this thing, 6 toes, double rows of teeth, and this thing is like ready to fight. These guys are absolutely petrified. Can you imagine something 12 feet tall coming out of the cave, a nightmare that's not supposed to exist? That all your training doesn't kick in, nothing. You're just stupefied. You're standing there.
I started on analog gear. That's where I learned about color and character. In the digital world, I learned about flexibility and infinite possibilities. The challenge was to develop an intuitive plugin to control all this complexity. The challenge was to perfect the channel strip plugin. When you open up this plugin, you have all the tools you need. Designed to work perfectly together. You have enough choices that it should work on anything in any genre. You can shape your own signal flow. The channel strip works in every combination, so you can experiment and try out new ideas without losing focus. I'm Andrew Sheps, and I'm extremely excited to present the Sheps Omni Channel by Waves.
Kick in, nothing. You're just stupefied. You're standing there, shocked.
All of a sudden, there's this really big dude standing in front of him, actually up above him. He was like on a ledge.
He's on a ledge, so it's even more pronounced.
He's like looming over them. Wow. And he jumped down with his spear, and it was really deathly. It was really fast. And this is one thing that he told us many times. So I didn't expect the speed and agility, because he said all of the CGI effects, and you mentioned this, that you see in movies of giants, they're always like kind of lumbering along.
Yeah.
This thing moved like the lance was like a 3-foot lance on a 10-foot pole, and the giant could swing around and bang with the end of the pole. So he knew what he was doing and used to using it. The weird thing about it is, why has he got this ancient Roman shield? I mean, he was using really ancient tools, and he was dressed in a way that was, you know, very ancient.
Very odd. Very odd.
It's really strange.
So as the firefight happens, these guys are come out with the cave. The giant comes out, and we could get into what the way he sounds, but
how'd she get that through my shield, dog?
That is some bullshit.
There's no way she should have got that through my shield.
They're frozen.
I just put the shield up in front of that
One of the guys is named Dan. Dan breaks loose and starts firing at the giant. And this is where the giant moves with such speed and agility that it defies logic. How's this thing moving that fast? Before Dan can do anything, he's impaled. He's hoisted up on this petard, literally, in the air, one hand. And the giant, according to the shooter, isn't done. He's coming after more of them. At this point, the training kicks in with these guys. Someone, and the shooter thinks it might have been him, yells, shoot him in the head, shoot him in the head. And they just blast this guy's face apart. 308, 50 cal.
And basically shot the giant in the chest and in the head, and in the face, and actually blew bottom part of the giant's face off. Where they could look into it. And when the giant was laying on the ground, he told me, he said it was like looking into a cave because the neck was so huge.
The eyes were bigger than the
You could see his teeth in there, but it was really kind of a mess after that happened.
double rows of teeth.
But this was like, you know, a very smelly, weird.
It's never had a shower. And
Well, they regularly killed and ate humans. He was a cannibal.
Yeah.
There's no doubt
And
that the
all
giant
the
was a cannibal.
locals knew that.
Your team won the
The
orb.
locals knew that. Well, the pilot, from going back
She's
to
gonna
the
try to kill you. I got a shield for you.
Incoming.
The pilot said that the whole thing, the whole package, with the giant, the pallet he was on, and the rigging to hold him down weighed 1,500 pounds. He said so the pallet and the rigging weighed, you know, about 400 pounds. So the giant weighed like 1,100 pounds by itself.
And it was fast.
And he said it was like 12 feet long.
Round one.
Kind of curled up. You know, it's-
Another trophy to scrap.
Ralph?
Morning, Mama. What is it? I have to go away for a while. I saw something I was not supposed to.
3, 2, 1, fight. Your team won the orb.
Ooh, that must have hurt.
Enemy team won the orb.
Orb over there. Oh, half orb.
Eat them.
Death vortex approaching.
There could be more.
What the fuck, dude? This is bullshit. This is fuck, dude.
He's running around looking for high value targets.
Correct.
Round
Oh my
lost.
These operations, and
Every
as
win's
we're
a step on the
getting the
way.
This
firefighters,
fucking
we're getting
bitch,
into
man.
different scrimmages, you want to put it that way. We would come back to the base and we started hearing this rumor about a unit that killed this, what they started calling this really tall person. At first I didn't think anything of it, and come to find out that the
3, 2, 1, fight! Your team claimed the orb. Your team won the orb.
Oh fuck, dude, they're both almost dead.
Not this time.
They're both like fucking. Yeah. You got that bitch.
The death vortex is incoming.
Whoa, did you see that?
You like, nope, you ain't getting those.
I know.
Was that great or what?
My shit. They're back up both my orbs.
shit.
Look how little XP we're getting.
I know.
The person that they killed actually was 3 times the size of a man, had extra digits on their hand and digits on their feet, and had red hair. And a special unit had come in and wanted this target. Well, we'd heard that they had killed this thing inside a cave, or the mouth of a cave. And it was common knowledge among the military to hear this.
Now, when you
it is.
Our contact said 2002 is when they shot this 15-footer or taller, and you're now in this, you know, in the service around 2005. This word is gotten out, and what I find interesting here too is that if you're going to create a hoax, I get that, but you got details: 6 fingers, red hair, double rows of teeth, 6 digits on the toes, and of course that brings it right back into what we hear about in the biblical prophetic narrative, specifically the Nephilim.
And even going to Iraq myself and being near the dam and seeing the prisoners underneath the dam, and prisoners who scream, and there'd be this awful feeling underneath the dam, and later finding out in the Bible that angels walk there that talks about it.
And this beneath the dam is the Euphrates.
Is Euphrates,
and
right?
The angels supposedly locked underneath the Euphrates, which is released in the book of Revelation. Bizarre. So you're actually at this site, and soldiers are being locked in prison underneath the Haditha Dam, and they're freaking out.
They're freaking out. They said they could feel it. In fact, the people who would guard them they would draw straws to see if they'd actually take them.
No one wanted to go down.
Nobody wants to go down. Going back to Afghanistan, we would hear these things. We would hear the locals talk about rumors of these giants.
What would the locals say? How would they talk about it?
They say that they lived in the caves and they were people, and
they were cannibals.
They were cannibals, and we at the time chalked it up to our United States, and we realized that it had some kind of folklore, but
Clutch-tastic. Oh shit, dude! She's your arch enemy because she has the word clutch in her name.
Like she's nuts.
Enemy team claimed the orb. Enemy team claimed the orb.
This costs so much!
Run for a second.
Motherfucker.
Enemy team claimed the orb.
What?
Whoa, did you see that?
The death vortex is incoming.
Where's he? Never mind. Yeah, use that.
Enemy team claimed the orb.
What? How the fuck did he fucking get you on that one? Dude, he fucking tracked your fucking motion like to a T, dude. I don't see how the hell he actually fucking decided to hit you there, because you were right then and there, you were dodging and weaving fucking pretty damn
the military
good.
unit had killed something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dan was dead. Okay. And why is a good man probably an important investment in that?
3, 2, 1, fight.
Look at that.
Your team won the orb.
The art of destruction.
Your team won the orb.
Man,
Round one.
that's a little tough.
Woohoo! Another trophy to scrap.
Before I left, they were already starting what they call a 9-line, which is a medevac request. They're sending out a medevac request, then all of a sudden it's not a medevac request. All of a sudden we had helicopters show up because, like I told you, there was a large precipice in the sheer drop.
3, 2, 1, fight! Enemy team won the orb.
Ultimate ready. Mama!
No!
Came up from the drop.
Freeze
They
dead
dropped
vortex
net,
incoming.
which is like cargo net. Like square. We were told we had that.
Enemy team won the orb.
Fuck.
Round lost.
Yeah, let's try to stay in the middle.
And save my father.
Three, two, one, fight. Enemy team won the orb.
Fuck, I need some help. What the hell is going on here?
Enemy team claimed the orb.
I did. Motherfuck.
The death vortex is incoming.
Tiger Slash!
Match lost.
Savoring the moment is key to temporary art.
Bundle him up. and we get another bigger helicopter. But it's almost like a
That's all it fucking takes, man. We could win 4 matches in a row and 1 loss, but
you know, through this area. Because the mountains, you gotta remember, Chinooks could only go in certain places because they had enough lift. And so we got him on there. The thing was too big. We couldn't move it. It smelled worse than a skunk. A corpse that's been around for a while.
The hills of Afghanistan. How many troop members are you with?
We had 6 on my crew. And when we say hills of Afghanistan, for us, we did not fly into the wilderness. We actually flew into a base. I guess this thing was transloaded out of the mountains by a CH-47. But I could see that it did have the 6 fingers. I remember taking my foot up and placing it up next to its foot, and it was extremely large. We estimated it at about 12 feet, give or take. What I can tell you is the weight of the thing. Basically, it was approximately 1,500 pounds while it was getting on the aircraft. Now, if you take away the pallet...
For like 3 seconds, I think.
Canada's perfectly safe.
Probably 2.5. What the fucking dumbass.
Time to be young.
Time to take the armor for a spin.
3, 2, 1, fight. Claimed the orb.
Running good for a second. Good.
Ready, set, go! Yep, that must have hurt.
She's almost dead. Beat her ass.
Round 1.
She took a spanking, dog. She was running the whole time.
She was doing really good in the beginning, man, because she kept fucking having my number. But then we kind of switched targets, and then this dude started getting my number, man. I was kind of worried for myself for a second. I was like, oh shit. You get beat up by Jade, and then beat up by motherfucker.
Your team won the orb.
What we later on called the babysitters, but they kind of introduced themselves and said, hey, no cameras, nobody's taking pictures here, we're moving some high-value stuff. When the word got there, we're very, of course, curious to see what it was, because that's just the way you are when you're told that you're not allowed to have a camera. They say this thing had been dead for maybe a day or two. And it was basically a dead guy. And this guy was extremely large. When I say large, our pallets are basically, if I remember correctly, about 9 by 12 feet or so. This guy was laying in a fetal position on the pallet. He filled the pallet. We estimated his size at approximately 12 to 10 feet tall. I did see his skin color. I was expecting somebody of more Arabic descent, being in Afghanistan and all. I know he was dead, but he was very pale, very white guy. We questioned the babysitters and, hey, where'd you get this guy? And some of the Army guys that were with him relayed to us that this guy had, I guess, been living up in the mountains next to a village where the villagers basically treated him like a god. I did infer that they were making sacrifices to this guy because they said they found bones of people. The giant supposedly, like I said, I was not there, supposedly killed the first team that they came across. He was extremely big and fast and agile for a guy that size. They sent up another team, and when the second team went in there to get him, supposedly he had already started to basically eat on the team that had been killed the first time. They then grabbed a helicopter, and the helicopter brought him down where we picked him up. After we loaded the Giant, it was just a standard mission back. We took him all the way back to Al Udeid in Qatar, where he was transloaded onto another airplane. I believe it was a C-17. I was done with my mission then. I got away from it. I was done. I did ask some questions later of, where it might have gone. And as the grapevine goes, it was probably taken back to the United States. And the words I heard were right pat, but.
That fucking, Shifu's starting to fucking feel better. Keep that in mind when we're fighting.
Your team claimed the orb.
Welcome to the show!
Didn't see that one coming, did ya?
Round one.
Another trophy to scrap.
Pick up all the Legos off the ground, put them on the table, and we'll build some more. Now that was incredibly rude. Go get his shirt on.
Your team won the orb.
That must have hurt.
And they got their ass whooped on that.
Soak up the victory cheers.
They're doing their best, though.
I know.
what time it is.
Alright.
It's 8:35.
We're gonna play one more match right now, and then I'm gonna have to build the truck, okay?
I'll show you a thing or two.
My arm cannon is perfectly safe, thank you.
You have to hold on a minute. We'll see what happens after this.
Maybe after we build all of the.
Are you taking the kids to Kroger?
I hear we got some cleaning to do.
It's okay, Josiah. If Mommy says bedtime, we'll do it.
2, 1, fight! Enemy team won the orb.
Ooh, that must have hurt.
Round 1.
Woohoo! Another trophy to scrap.
Three, 2, 1, fight!
Oh my god.
Enemy team claimed the orb.
Points to me.
Your team won the orb.
Ultimate ready. Blast off.
The death vortex is incoming.
I was a little worried.
Was that great or what?
The motherfuckers kept dodging me.
Three, 2, 1, fight! Enemy team won the orb.
Time's up. This costs so much.
Enemy team won the orb.
Ultimate ready.
was gonna kill him.
Round lost. That's that. Easy shooting.
I started on analog gear. That's where I learned about color and character. In the digital world, I learned about flexibility and infinite possibilities. The challenge was to develop an intuitive plugin to control all this complexity. The challenge was to perfect the channel strip plugin. When you open up this plugin, you have all the tools you need. Designed to work perfectly together. You have enough choices that it should work on anything in any genre. You can shape your own signal flow. The channel strip works in every combination, so you can experiment and try out new ideas without losing focus. I'm Andrew Sheps, and I'm extremely excited to present the Sheps Omni channel by Waves.
Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to briefly talk about something before I start this video. It has come to my attention, brought to me by a subscriber.
Dude, I'm starting to
I
get
put his link
protection
in the
all the
description
time now. I
bar
wonder if they
and
fixed it.
gave him credit for
I wonder
this.
if it was something that was bugged out.
He sent me a link with the creator of the first quantum computer giving a lecture. Now, what you will see is something so interesting. And I'll tell you what, it really is pretty spooky stuff. We're talking about the D-Wave system, and we're talking about quantum computing. We're talking about accessing what he says, and these are not my words. These are not the speculations of a man on the internet. These are from the actual creator of the first quantum computer. And he says that, and I quote, they are accessing parallel universes, very similar to one just like ours. Everything happening in it with slight differences. Well, isn't that interesting that we're seeing slight differences in the things around us? We're not talking about huge things, but we are seeing differences in things. Slight name changes, apostrophes that weren't there before, logo changes, you name it. Now, I have to ask you, nobody asked me if I wanted my reality to be jacked with. And these people, and he states that he thinks they're amazing scientists doing amazing, and have amazing minds who are going to waste because they're not fulfilling their potential. And it's really sad to me that, well, I'm so sorry that you are so bored that you feel like you need to be playing God and jacking realities, because that's what's happening right now. So I want you to what we're talking about. I want you to listen to the wording very carefully, because it's very important for all of us to understand the truth. And the truth is, your reality is changing, and it's going to change quite a bit, because these computers, these new computers, are accessing higher realities, parallel universes that are around us. And it's something that we're going to need to pay attention to. It is something that's going to be very, very important in the near future. So with that, I hope you all are having a wonderful holiday weekend, and I'll be back with you soon. You guys have a good one. Bye.
What's a super easy way to tell that your bed is awful? The raw egg test. Let me prove it.
Be back with you soon. You guys have a good one. Bye.
You may consider this next group of speakers somewhat unusual, if not to say strange. We have the creator of what is the world's first quantum computer in person here from Berlin, DC. We have the president of the super high-tech company that makes Canada's iconic Canada Arm, but whose hobby it is to try and reconcile modern science with the Bible. And we have a filmmaker from Los Angeles who has stumbled on what the appears to be evidence of life. And my thought in putting together this somewhat improbable combination of speakers was that out there where the theory of the very large and the very small connect, and out there where our 13.7 billion year old and expanding universe touches the void, you come upon mystery and the possibility of God. That was my thinking. So let's begin with Jordy. Jordy.
Your team claimed the orb.
Jordy, I don't understand much about quantum computing except that it's supposed to be the next big thing. In power and in speed, and that you are the only company in the world now actually making one.
Well, hopefully after this 17 minutes, you'll understand what they are and be excited about what you might be able to use them for.
These are really big deals. They come in at about $15 or $20 million a piece.
Something like that.
And have been bought by major American research and corporations.
That's right, correct.
All right, Jordy.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
You were great. I said you were great.
So quantum computing is a very technical subject, and I'm not going to talk a lot about the specific details, of which I'm glad. You're sure you're glad. But I'm going to try to give you an idea about what the kind of thing is that we build and why people are so excited about it. But I'm going to wrap that story in another story. How many of you have children? Let's see. So it's almost everybody. So I have 3 children. The youngest is 4. The oldest is 8. And they're very different, but they share one thing in common. And the parents in the audience may, I suspect, have noticed the same thing. Each of my children has fixated on a particular stuffed animal as being their special friend or toy. And in particular, my middle son, James, absolutely loves this little guy called Bear Bear, which is the picture that I'm showing up here. Bear Bear was a limited release Thai Beanie Baby, and there aren't very many of them that were made of his particular form. And one Christmas, I decided that it would be insurance policy to go and try to buy some more just in case something happened to Bear Bear. So I went on the internet and did a search, and I was only able to locate 2 others that were for sale, and I bought both of them. So now he has 3 of these little guys. But the reason that it occurred to me that this might be a good place to start is a conversation that I had with him last week. He wanted to sleep with his older brother in his bedroom, and his older brother wouldn't let him. And he was very sad and despondent, and he was like, I'm scared, I don't want to sleep by myself. And I said, well, you've got Bear Bear. And he said to me, Bear Bear isn't real. And so I found this very intensely distressing for a variety of reasons that maybe you'll understand when I go through this. And I assured him that Bear Bear was as real as anything else in the world. And he said, but he can't speak and he can't move. And so I said, well, what you really mean is he's not alive. And he said, yes, that's what I mean. So for very young children, the sense of being real and the sense of being alive are somehow connected. And I'm going to circle back to this point at the end. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about quantum computers and why people care so much about them. There are literally tens of thousands of some of the brightest people in the world today trying to build these machines and understand them. And I'm going to tell you why. In my last 15 years of working on this type of stuff, I found that scientists divide up into 2 categories of zealots about this field. The first half are people who are absolutely entranced by the physics of these things. This quote is from a respectable scientist, in fact, one of the founders of this field. Humans use tools to do things that there are, like, I'm scared, I don't want to sleep by myself. And I said, well, you've got Bear Bear. And he said to me, Bear Bear isn't real. And so I found this very intensely distressing for a variety of reasons that maybe you'll understand when I go through this. And I assured him that Bear was as real as anything else in the world. And he said, but he can't speak and he can't move. And so I said, well, what you really mean is he's not alive. And he said, yes, that's what I mean. So for very young children, the sense of being real and the sense of being alive are somehow connected. And I'm going to circle back to this point at the end. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about quantum computers and why people care so much about them. There are literally tens of thousands of some of the brightest people in the world today trying to build these machines and understand them. And I'm going to tell you why. In my last 15 years of working on this type of stuff, I found that scientists divide up into two categories of zealots about this field. The first half are people who are absolutely entranced by the physics of these things. This quote is from a respectable scientist, in fact, one of the founders of this field.
That seemed like a Twilight Zone match.
That maybe a little bit, may look a little strange to you who don't follow theoretical physics, but there is a very clear prediction that our most successful theory of nature makes, and that is that there are an enormous number, mind-bogglingly large number, of parallel realities, as real as this one, that have different consistent histories. So imagine a world where all of the laws of physics as we know them are obeyed, but different decisions were made along the way. Different decisions at the level of tiny microscopic particles, different decisions all the way up to what you chose to eat for lunch, and whether you chose to come to this session or not. Quantum mechanics makes a very specific prediction that all of those are as real as the thing that you remember. And this is bizarre, because we don't see those other things. But science has reached the point now where we can build machines that exploit those other worlds. And quantum computers are perhaps the most exciting of all of these that we have within, or almost within our grasp right now. So people from a physics background love this. They want to understand the world. They want to understand the universe, how it all works. There's another type of person who tends to come from the computer science side that's like, yeah, okay, that's all great. But there's a different thing going on here, which is just as exciting, if not more, and that these machines that supposedly can do this wild stuff, let's forget about how they work, if you could build one, could solve problems that you could never, ever solve with any computer of the sort that we build. If you took every single atom of silicon in the world and made the most sophisticated conventional Intel-style processor that you could build, there are problems we know of that I could write down on a sheet of paper that you could never, ever, ever solve with that thing, that you could with this kind of machine. So that's very exciting. Humans use tools to do things. If you give humans a new kind of tool that can do things that you couldn't otherwise do, imagine the possibilities. So you may think, well, this is all fine and dandy, but aren't these things in the realm of theory and speculation kind of in the same regime as other futuristic things you may have heard of which may be allowed by the laws of physics but aren't here yet? That's not true. There are, in fact, many of these machines deployed now in openly available research centers following the model that was used to introduce supercomputers to the world. They're too big and ornery and difficult to operate to put in your home. They're expensive also. But you can give them to a place which will manage them as a shared resource that will offer that service to the world. And there are two of these now. One of them is at the University of Southern California. And this analogy with flight, I think, is an interesting one. So a horse can beat, or could beat, the initial flight of the Wright brothers' flight in speed. But a plane is not a faster horse. A plane is a different kind of machine. The plane takes advantage of another resource that nature gives us, this third dimension, in order to do something that matters to people better that you could do with any horse. It doesn't matter how fast you make a horse, it will never fly. At least the kinds of horses that we know about. So these types of computers now are being thought of in the same way. They're not terrifically powerful yet, but they're doing something completely different than what your computer does. And that thing is like flight. It gives these computers access to these new resources, maybe you could call them parallel universes, in order to do something that you couldn't otherwise do. And that's not the only one. In fact, the one I'm going to come back to and talk to in the context of the story that I'm wrapping this in was recently installed at NASA. And Google was the primary interested party that pulled this whole thing together. And this one is really exciting to me, because what they're going to do is apply this machine to an area that I think is fundamentally important. It's the crux of our future as humans. And that's, can we build machines like us? So, building machines like us might be possible. I certainly believe it is. I might be wrong. But what I do know is that the types of approaches that people are taking now to build intelligent machines benefit immensely from what this machine that we've built does best. So what this center is about is applying this beautiful new computational idea in the service of trying to make intelligent machines. Now, I can't think of anything personally any cooler than trying to use quantum computers to build intelligent machines, so this is very exciting. Steve Jurvetson has been a long-time friend and investor in the company, and for those of you who don't know him, he's a Silicon Valley investor who's probably the smartest VC that I know of, and certainly the one that's the most attuned to technological trends. He's on the board of SpaceX, Tesla, Synthetic Genomics, which is Craig Venture's company, is trying to build artificial life, and D-Wave, and that's it. And this is his particularly poetic way of framing the difference between the machines we build and conventional computers. This is what they look like. There are two of them. These are from our lab in Burnaby in British Columbia. From the outside, they look like giant black monoliths. Big metal boxes. About 10 feet on a side.
Kevin's down there.
Tall.
You want to go join him?
And they are powered. They have a fridge inside them, a refrigerator that cools these chips to almost absolute zero.
Yep, I'll be there in 1 second.
Just a wisp, a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. Hundreds of times colder than interstellar space. Amongst the coldest and most isolated and extreme conditions that humans have ever been able to engineer. These fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines. At the heart of this big box is a tiny chip about the size of your thumbnail. And on this chip resides all of the wonder and magic that makes this thing go. I'm not going to describe in any mathematical detail how it all works, but let me give you an analogy. In quantum mechanics, there's this concept that a thing can exist in two states which are mutually exclusive at the same time, quote unquote. So I'm using those words because the English language was developed before we had concepts to describe what these things actually are doing. But I'm going to give you a roundabout way of understanding this. Imagine that there really are parallel universes out there, and now imagine you have two that are exactly identical in every respect, all the way out to the horizon as far as we can see, down to the last little atomic detail of every single thing, with only one difference. And that's the value of a little thing called a qubit on this chip, which is a contraction of quantum bit. And that qubit is very much like a bit or a transistor in a conventional computer. It has two distinct physical states, which we call 0 and 1 for bit. In a conventional computer, These are mutually exclusive. That device is either one or the other and never anything else. In a quantum computer, that device can be in this strange situation where these two parallel universes have a nexus, a point in space where they overlap. And when you increase the number of these devices, every time you add one of these qubits, you double the number of these parallel universes that you have access to, until such time when you get to a chip like this, which has about 500 of these bits, you have something like 2 to the 500th power of these guys living in that chip. So the way I think about it is that the shadows of these parallel worlds overlap with ours. And if we're smart enough, we can dive into them and grab their resources and pull them back into ours to make an effect in our world. Now, this may sound very odd to you and bizarre, and in fact, I am using...
Hi, I'm Kong, and I have helped many musicians and sound engineers make a living on YouTube. This is one of my students, Ben Wonder, who remixes weird sounds and noises into EDM songs. That video has over 350,000 views. This is Arya, who takes popular hip-hop songs and teaches the average person how to make them.
This is a regular hi-hat. Then with the sampler, you go like...
He has over 170,000 subscribers. This is Imaginary Ambition, who makes outrageous music tutorials.
What the fuck? This is crazy.
His channel has over 5 million views. I taught these musicians everything I know about going viral, and now they have turned their passion for music into a career. Now, who am I? My name is Kong, and over the last 7 years, my friend Jesse and I have created multiple YouTube channels with over 4 million subscribers and over 1 billion views. We did this without spending a dime on marketing or advertising. And that's what the majority of people in the world don't understand. You can turn any passion, hobby, or interest into a profitable YouTube channel. There are tech nerds who review the latest iPhone when it comes out. There are kids who play with toys and just give their opinion on it. There are gamers who play their favorite video games and put that onto YouTube. All of these people have made a career out of what they love to do simply by utilizing YouTube. Now, contrary to popular belief, videos on YouTube don't just go viral based on luck. There's a science to it as well. I have spent nearly a decade doing this, and I have probably made about 1,000 viral videos that brought in millions of dollars in revenue. Clearly, that's not because I got lucky 1,000 times. Now look, I'm not making this video to show off to you how cool I am. I have Instagram for that. I'm making this video because I want you to know that you don't have to accept a mediocre job. You don't have to accept a mediocre life. You can make a living working on your passions by utilizing YouTube. And I know that may sound hard, and I get it. It's scary to start something new. You probably don't even know where to start. I was there when I first started as well, so I understand that feeling of uncertainty. That's why my friend Jesse and I created a step-by-step program to teach you exactly how to do it. We've taken everything that we learned on our journey and created this program to teach you how to do the same. And for the next few days, we are giving this away for free. So click the link on the bottom left corner of your screen to check it out.
Now, this may sound very odd to you and bizarre, and in fact, I am using language that a normal theoretical physicist probably wouldn't use. But this is, what I'm telling you is absolutely correct and in line with the way that these things actually work.